gives better lovemaking advice, us or artificial intelligence, specifically for this ChatGPT, because I am too cheap to buy any one of the real ones. So we are using the free version of ChatGPT. And we're not experts in lovemaking. I'm not using the other word because I don't want to get censored. But we're not lovemaking experts, though we have experience with this thing. But we are the authors of a book called Lovemaking, where we talk about how to talk. What do we do? How to talk about sex with your spouse. What do we do? What do we do? We make it.
We make it.
We make it, and then sometimes babies come. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about whether or not we give better advice than ChatGPT. Because, again, we're not experts. We are married. We have experience with the lovemaking, and we are authors.
What's that?
Anything else? Any other criteria that makes us qualified?
Qualified to speak on this?
Yeah.
No, we've tried to learn how the practical and the physical can combine with spiritual and the lived experience. And we've tried to pull from different resources in our own lives, like theology of the body, church teaching, and then also like science and anatomy and
right,
all the things. So that's where we're coming from. And then ChatGPT is pulling from all of the things people write about. So we'll see.
We'll see whose advice is better, or maybe we agree. We'll see, or disagree. Maybe
they pull from our book to answer this question.
That'd be great. Yeah, all the good answers are from the book. All right. So first question we asked ChatGPT. All right. So first question that we asked ChatGPT. You can read it. Oh, can you not?
I need to get glasses, I think, to do it this way.
Maybe
I can read the question. That is
all right. You can read the question. I will read the answer.
Okay.
From ChatGPT.
Does my husband only want s3x? We're trying not to get censored here.
Yes. Why does my husband only want that? All right. So this is what ChatGPT says. I'm going to try to say this in a robotic voice. I'm actually terrible at reading. So this is going to be great.
His second grade teacher is so proud.
If it feels like your husband only wants s3x, it may be that physical intimacy is his primary way of expressing love, reducing stress and feeling connected. Many men are wired to bond through the physical first, then open up emotionally, which can create a mismatch if his wife needs emotional closeness before feeling sexual. Sometimes it's not that he only wants s3x, but that s3x is the clearest way he knows to feel affirmed and wanted, especially if he feels distant or unappreciated in other areas. What say you of that answer?
What say me? So I think that sounds pretty well-rounded. I think there's a few things that might be missing from it, but I think that's pretty good. That like the more common expression or experience of married couples, again, this could be reversed. The roles could be reversed, that the wife is more interested or initiates more or desires s3x more than
you can say lovemaking. That's okay. The title of the book.
Desires lovemaking more frequently than the man, but for this question, and the more statistically more common. Anyways, just wanted to clarify that. I do think that the physical is the more like obvious way of expressing closeness and intimacy. And with all the hormone releases and things, it does actually offer stress relief and things like that. So it is a very quote unquote like easy way. It's a very obvious way that you can feel connected to your spouse, that you can relieve stress, that you can feel bonded, that you can feel intimacy, that you can feel pleasure. So that sounds legitimate.
It sounds like a good answer. I think it's right in that it says that the reason it seems like he only wants lovemaking is, but like it basically feels like a roundabout way of saying like the only reason he wants lovemaking is because he wants lovemaking, right? So it's then it's saying like the deeper reason that he's looking for lovemaking is for these other things, and I think that's fair. I think that's true, and I think that's actually what we talk about in the first chapter of this book. But I do. The only thing I don't like about that it didn't mention in there is that's if the husband is only pursuing the physical because that's how he experiences affirmation and stress relief, like that's not okay. Does that make sense? Like it talks about the mismatch, and that like he can feel distant and appreciate it. It just seems to me like it skews very, like giving the okay for the husband to pursue in this way. Like the reason he's not, oh no, he's not just pursuing, is he was pursuing these good things. So therefore,
Right.
and I think it should be more of, if a husband is pursuing for those reasons, that is lacking, especially I think within a Catholic marriage. Like I think it's okay if you're pursuing your wife at the beginning for those things, but like ultimately you should be pursuing them because you want to be with them, not because you want affirmation or because you feel very stressed. Right? Like those shouldn't be the reason for pursuit, because that ultimately leads to, that's not really lovemaking, that's using. And I think that distinction isn't being made here.
Yes.
Because it seems like it's kind of I'm thinking of the word.
Nuance?
No. That's what we try to be. We try to be fence sitters, so nobody likes us. No, what's the word? Permissive. Sorry, it's like it seems like it's permitting the way that you feel, kind of like, oh, you feel this way, but it's really not a big deal because this is how men pursue things. And it's true that like that is how men are wired to pursue that way. What 80% of men are wired to pursue that way, but we are also not called to just be puppets that like, the strings are pulled by our desires and pursuits. And ultimately, like the husband should get to the point that he desires his beloved to be with his beloved, and not because he needs to feel affirmed and
we can't be like slaves to our needs, our desires, our feelings. We should still have like the elevated ability of self-control, and we should also want to direct those things towards the good of our beloved, not just ourselves, right? So I think that there's a very like, it's a fine line between pursuing intimacy for the good of your marriage and for the good of the other, and then pursuing intimacy for yourself, like because I want to feel loved and sex makes me feel loved, so I am pursuing it so that I can feel that affirmation. And like if you listen to that carefully, and if you're very aware and attuned to that, like that subtle distinction of like that's selfish versus I want to love my spouse and I want to show love for them and I want to feel our love together, versus I'm pursuing it for my own confidence, for my own, like I want to be reminded that she loves me, so right, I'm going to initiate so that she can then give that back to me and I feel affirmed.
Right. We were talking at work. Where was I talking about this about? We were talking about at work how I don't know if it was at work actually, but we were talking somewhere about how work
words came out of my mouth and somebody responded to them.
We were talking about how men usually are able to invest more time into their careers because they get more return on investment immediately, and they get that affirmation. Like they do a project, they get a job well done, and they get a pat on the back, and they get a raise. Something reflects on them, like, oh look, I feel affirmed. And sometimes what can happen is if in their career they don't feel affirmed, they can then go home and be like, I want to feel affirmed, so therefore I'm going to pursue my spouse because love making makes me feel affirmed. And that's very backwards, because like that's not what she's there for. Right? Your wife isn't there to be a gumball machine. Like I'm going to put 25 cents in, I'm going to get a gumball, and like now I feel better about myself. Like that's not what the spouse is there for. Finishing my thought, the physical and the pursuit and all of that should enhance your desire for your beloved, right? Like I want to be with my spouse because I love them, and now all these other physical attributes, the desire I have for them, the feeling of wanting to feel loved, like all of that should enhance the lovemaking, but it shouldn't be what
drives it. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think, gosh, now I'm forgetting what I was going to say. Shoot.
Look at that. She's got ADHD now. No. If you're new here, that's a joke because I have ADHD. just putting out there.
The real one, the real kind.
Well, there's gonna be more. Yes, there's gonna be more lovemaking questions, hopefully. So I'm sure it'll come up. Question number 2. Can you read it?
Why does my husband have a higher drive than me?
And by drive, they mean lovemaking drive. Men generally have higher baseline testosterone levels, which drives more frequent sexual desire. But that's not the whole story. Lifestyle, stress, emotional connection, and personal health all affect libido. Women's sexual desire often fluctuates more due to hormonal cycles, fatigue, and relational dynamics. This mismatch doesn't mean something is wrong. It just means couples may need to learn each other's rhythms and meet halfway. What do you think of that answer?
I don't love...
Oh, she doesn't love.
I don't love the, like, meet halfway, and in that there's some sort of, like, compromise that if we just kind of keep scooching towards the middle, then our scale will be balanced.
You know what's funny? That's something I think Jordan Peterson said. Like when he wants couples to talk about it, like if the husband wants 600 times a day
Yeah.
and the wife wants 0, so they can meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I mean,
good, push back. No.
Yeah, but I think that there's definitely I think that there's like this is like an open door for couples to open like to have the conversation about this is how I experience arousal, this is how I experience drive, this is how I experience desire. How do you experience it? And then to kind of like communicate about the ways that you are more interested, the barriers that prevent you from being interested. And just like this is a way of getting to know one another more intimately and deeply by understanding the other person's experience of drive and arousal. Because a lot of the things, like, I don't know what it's like to be a man, like to live in a man's body and to have those like sexual feelings through my body, and you don't know what that's like as a woman. And then also I don't know what it's like to experience life as a male and you as a female. So I think that this is a conflict almost for a reason, so that spouses can become more one with one another and understanding of one another,
rather than like meet in the middle
instead of meeting in the middle, like understand, so that like, okay, I can understand this is how you're experiencing things. And even though I'm going to choose to engage in this because I don't really have a real reason not to, even though I might not be aroused at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, for the person who experiences, again, this is like statistically typically the man is experiencing this, but then like can look at his wife's day, his wife's week, his wife's cycle, and or like just look at the other person, look at the other spouse and be like, you know, this is more on like being a little bit more, my body is being a little bit more selfish in this circumstance, when the situation, the emotional availability isn't there, the practical availability isn't there. So I don't know if it's like a meet halfway, but it's like let me understand the other person's life experience and make a good judgment call based on that.
Okay. So that's where ChatGPT fell short for Monica. I think most of the answer was okay. I would have liked them to also mention the spontaneous arousal and responsive arousal, which we also talk about in Lovemaking. But I would have liked that they mentioned that. And then, like you said, I think that it, like, learning each other's rhythms, I don't think necessarily goes with meet halfway, because I think that paints a picture of like things will get like, oh, if you just, everything will be great. And like, if you're actually married and you live in actual marriage and relationship, like especially if you have kids and you have all the responsibilities, like the seasons of marriage are so different, similar to like the seasons of like, it's cooler out, so I'm not sweating as much. But like that, because everything fluctuates, like there's no meeting halfway, because like what can look okay this week is not going to be the same as next week.
Yes.
And that's where ChatGPT just can't live a relationship. It doesn't know that. Yeah. It just, you read a book, okay, but did you feel it? You did it.
But I think
okay. Sorry, I was gonna go to Michael Scott monologue. Continue.
I think your point is really valid though, because I think that there are actually times. So, for example, if a woman is postpartum, right, and like
you never had that,
but like after giving birth, hormones are crazy. I think that there is an opportunity to be like, I'm not interested purely because my hormones are going wild right now. But my husband is a wonderful servant, husband and father, and he is attentive, and I love him. And like,
whose hormones also go wild, but
in the positive. But like, I think that there's opportunities to choose to engage. You'll end up enjoying it. And like to just acknowledge. So like, I don't think that there's a halfway. I think at that point you go to the other spouse, right? So like, I'm going to pursue sexual intimacy, even though my body might not say right in this minute it wants it. I don't really have a reason not to. And like, my emotions want it, and my heart wants it, the good of my marriage wants it. And then same for the husband. Sometimes you can be super interested, but there's not a halfway. It's a no. Like you can't right now. So I don't like the halfway. I think there's I think there's an opportunity for nuance, but also sometimes just objective choice.
I support that.
Like, what is the right answer here?
ChatGPT,
do that.
Do better. Do better. All right, next question that we asked AI.
Why does my wife say she has a headache whenever I want to be intimate?
Oh. Let's see. Let's. You know what? ChatGPT's never been rejected. Well, maybe it has. Maybe not by me. I always say thank you after I ask it a question. The headache, in quotes, may be a lighthearted excuse, but it can signal deeper realities. She may be tired, stressed, feeling emotionally disconnected, or not physically prepared for intimacy. Women often need more mental and emotional foreplay than men. So if daily life has left her feeling drained or unseen, sexual advances might feel like another demand instead of a gift. Addressing the root causes, rest, emotional safety, and the affection outside the bedroom can make a big difference. What do you think of that answer?
I think without using the phrase mental load, ChatGPT described
mental load really well. Yeah, that was a good answer. Yeah, it was a good answer. Only thing it forgot to mention was that because another reason a wife could be declining advances is because it's just bad. So I don't.
The moves are bad.
It may be right, or like we've talked with other people about, like it could be painful. Like there could be other things that aren't just mental load related. Like it's not just you fix it, or like there could be unaddressed trauma that they need to go to therapy for. Like there could be a host of other things that aren't just not mental load related. Yes. So like they did a good job addressing the mental load, because I think that is, who else does a good job. But outside of mental load, for those of you that aren't watching, I held the book up and Monica laughed because I'm her husband. Okay. Besides the mental load aspect, I think that it could have also added an extra line of there could be other things outside of these, because it makes it seem like if you fix these things, you're going to fix everything.
I think that's really important. If you see a pattern, if either person sees a pattern of like over pursuit or under acceptance of pursuit, like, or maybe even calling it rejection, but like if there's a pattern of like, it's almost always you initiating, it's almost always you saying no, it's almost always like if you see something happening over and over again and it's not to the benefit of the marriage, then there's typically something that needs to be addressed, a deeper root. So this like rejection or over pursuit is a symptom of something else that's going on. And like you said, it could be that like it's happening too fast and it's not enjoyable for one person, or it could be that
attacked. Continue.
It could be that there is something in the past that now is seeping into this area of your marriage, like trauma or just like previous experiences in this area. It could be that that you're not feeling loved outside of the bedroom, so then you're going to feel used inside the bedroom if you're not feeling loved outside of the bedroom. So in addition to mental load, I feel like there's other things. And so instead of getting frustrated with either person being like, you're pursuing way too much or you're rejecting way too much, instead of being frustrated, or use your frustration towards something positive of like, let me really look deeper here. Let me ask some questions. Mm-hmm. And your intention with those questions can't be so that it can lead to sex, but like, so that it can lead to healing in our marriage, because something is wrong.
And healing leads to lovemaking. All right, next one. Ooh, read it nice and loud. This is the next one that we asked ChatGPT.
Why doesn't my wife climax during intercourse?
And ChatGPT says female orgasm is often more complex than male orgasm. Sorry, I made a face. Requiring time, trust, and the right kind of stimulation. Many women don't climax from penetration alone. Clitoral stimulation in a relaxed, emotionally safe environment are key. If she feels pressure to perform, or if foreplay is too short, her body may not be fully aroused. Patience, communication, and understanding her unique sexual response can transform frustration into mutual enjoyment. I butchered that. Can transform frustration into mutual enjoyment. You know who else talks about this? We do in this book called Lovemaking. But so I laughed when the first line of female orgasm is often more complex. No, it is more complex. Not often. I don't know. Unless you're magic. So sorry. But though, like the male orgasm is pretty cut and dry.
Yep.
But like, so she doesn't, because it requires a lot more work. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And then also, so like you had mentioned before, and I don't want to overlook this. So this is the general, like, okay, if all things are anatomically healthy and hormones are all fairly balanced, even though they fluctuate within the cycle, but they're fluctuating as they should, it's probably just you need to change positions, you need to work on technique, you need to extend the time period longer, allow for foreplay to help her body be prepared.
You need to communicate more though, and I know that seems super awkward and no one wants to talk because like they don't talk in movies. They don't
they don't say, I'm sorry, this isn't working for me, can you can we switch?
Oh, I slipped. No, like none of those things happen. It's just everything.
Yeah.
So that like I would say, because we also have unrealistic that's something I didn't this is something that ChatGPT didn't say. We have unrealistic expectations of what the bedroom should look like or be like based on what we've consumed. So like if we think it should be like the movies, or it should be like what our friends have told us, or what we've seen on a computer screen, that's just not what it's like. And it requires a lot more open communication than I think we might anticipate before we get married. And then once we're married, we have to communicate like, is this okay? Is this not okay? And like being willing to have those awkward conversations, and like they'll be less awkward as you do it more.
Yeah. One thing that's reminded me of is we were watching a show, and one of the scenes, the guy like tossed things off the counter, and they embraced, and you're like, it doesn't work well that way. I'm just like, oh, no, I'd be so triggered by like the mess that he just made, and I'm distracted now.
Who's gonna pick that up after?
And then like that position just anyway. So
what show was this? We didn't see many positions.
Well, but like on the counter.
But yeah, I was like, that's not one.
That's not one that works.
That's not one. That's all movies.
All of them.
Fake.
Anyways,
like ChatGPT.
It might work for some, but anyways, but also if this is again continually unenjoyable for your wife, or even painful, it might not be technique, it might not be position, there might be something else going on. So checking out with a doctor or a pelvic floor therapist or things like that. There could also, it might not be you, it might be her, and love her through that and support her through that and want her to be well so that she can just be well for the sake of being well. The end.
And we have 2 more questions left, and this is from ChatGPT again.
So we asked ChatGPT, how often should we be intimate?
And that goes back. Didn't we kind of talk about that? No, we didn't. That was more of like, why does he want it all the time?
Mm-hmm. And then the Jordan Peterson meet in the middle.
Yeah.
0 to 600.
I was being, that's not actually what he said. But okay, so how often should we be intimate? This is what ChatGPT says. There's no universal number. Lies. So kidding. It's about what keeps intimacy alive for both spouses. Studies suggest many happy couples average once or twice a week, but frequency can change with age, stress, health, and lifestyles. And life stages. The Catholic view sees marital sex not as a quota, but as a renewal of the vows, a self-giving act that fosters unity and openness to life. The right frequency is one that helps both spouses feel loved, desired, and connected. Again, this is something we talk about in Lovemaking. And I must have told, or ChatGPT must realize that I'm Catholic or that we're Catholic. Though I do ask it a lot of different questions, and I'll be like, in this light. So, so yeah, it's calling us out and trying to become family.
Trying to address our needs. Yeah, I generally agree with this. Like the right number for one couple is not going to be the right number for another couple, and not for the right couple in this year, in this month, in this cycle, this NFP cycle, in this whatever. But I think this should always be communicated about. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Do you feel loved? And I think that one thing that's important is that your lovemaking time should not be put low on the priority list. That like you should be considering that. You should be like wanting to carve out time for that and wanting to have that be an active part of your marriage, so that the fullness of your marriage, the two become one flesh, can be physically expressed. There is something spiritual that happens in the physical act. That's not to say that you need to like overpressure, put too much pressure on making sure that happens frequently or this much or however, but to not let it be less important than some other like practical things in your home. That like the laundry doesn't need to take priority over lovemaking. that kind of thing. So like just make sure that it's a consideration.
I like what ChatGPT said. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I think it's fair. It made, yes. Sex is not a quota.
It's not a quota.
Nope. I like it. All right, last one that we asked ChatGPT.
Why does the church, Catholic Church, want us to have 1,000 babies?
Haha. Let's see what it says. The Catholic Church doesn't command endless childbearing. It teaches that children are a gift and the natural fruit of marital love. Catechism 2366 to 2368. Couples are called to be generous but also responsible, discerning together if there are serious reasons, financial, health-related, and emotional, for spacing or limiting births. The character of 1,000 babies misses the heart of the teaching, which is about openness to life, not mandatory maximum reproduction. Oh.
Oh, ChatGPT went at the trads with that one. Sorry.
You went at the trads with that one.
That last line, though,
that line was really good.
Which is about openness to life, not mandatory maximum reproduction. That's a good one.
It did a good job. I thought this was an adequate answer, and it didn't mention the NFP word.
Yep.
NFP. It didn't talk about NFP, which I think, so now I have to explain what you said about the going at the trads. I think there are people who are more traditional leaning that believe in providentialism, which would be that we have as many babies as God is going to give us, and we should always be open and willing to conceive at all times.
Yes, and never work. And never
the
work
NFP is not something that you use. Yeah. So I thought ChatGPT did a good job explaining this answer without having to say NFP, because I think sometimes when you get an answer like this, people jump to like, well, you don't have to. You can do NFP. People are like, well, see, that's not. And I like the line of it's openness to life, not mandatory maximum reproduction. Like that was really good.
Yeah. Well, because I love that line too, because like in the middle, there could be reasons to avoid pregnancy, and some people could be like, that's why we have contraception now. So I liked that last line because they're all acts of s3x should be
s3x
ordered toward life. The function could produce new life. The way that the act is completed could result in a new human being created. However, through NFP, you can time that so that your act is still ordered in that direction, but would avoid pregnancy.
Yeah. So I thought it did a good job with this one.
Well done, ChatGPT.
Well done. Don't kill us when you become fully conscious. Just know that we said please and thank you, and we give you your flowers when you deserved them. So let us know what you think. Did I know I made this like us versus them, though I do wonder if we did a better job explaining what the church teaches with nuance. Mm-hmm. Some people don't like that word. But I think we did a good job trying to explain what the church teaches and how it's actually practical to spouses to live out what the church teaches. And I think ChatGPT did a good job beginning and starting the conversation, but I do think you needed the human touch from your favorite interracial couple that wrote the book Lovemaking, that is available on Ave Maria Press and Amazon. And we think you should get yourself 10 copies, one for you and your spouse, and 9 to give away to your neighbors so they can think you're super weird.
But they can have really great conversations in their own home, in the privacy of their own home. So they'll be awkward in public, but
so don't ask ChatGPT. Just read the book. Right. Same thing. But so if you like this video,
but not the same thing. Better.
No. Sorry. Yes, we're better. We're better. That was the whole point of this. We're better.
This is an ad, guys. This is actually an ad.
If you like this, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we drop another video with all of this ridiculousness. And if you're listening to us on podcast platforms only, please leave a review. Let us know what you think of this episode. Sorry. And we are just so happy you're here with us, and we cannot wait to see you at the next episode.